Right, as the Premier League pauses for the international break, it's looking like a fascinating battle for European qualification as we approach the run. As you can see, Dougie and Pete are back with me again. Right, how tight is this?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Wherever you find yourself, I greet you. If this is your first time to watch this channel, please do your best to subscribe and share and like. And if you have any doubt, anything that you want to say, you can put on the comment section. We all know how heat and hot the EPL or the Premier League top 5 has been. If you don't know, let me remind you that this year or next season Champions League, English Premier League is going to have 5 spots, 5 teams representing the Champions League. So it has made the Premier League become hot. Who is going to qualify for the Champions League apart from Liverpool? Because to me, if you ask me, I know Liverpool has won the league already. So which 4 teams are going to be part of Liverpool? Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Man City, Aston Villa, Newcastle, Brentford, Fulham, Bournemouth. Which of these teams are going to play the Champions League next season? Let me know from the comment section. We are going to jump into Sky Sports and listen to more details about this top 5 Champions League spots. So be with me. Let's go and watch this from or listen to Sky Sports, what they said about this top 5.
Right, as the Premier League pauses for the international break, it's looking like a fascinating battle for European qualification as we approach the run. As you can see, Dougie and Pete are back with me again. Right, how tight is this to get into the, well, is it top 4? Is it top 5? And this race for Europe?
Yeah, got lots of twists and turns to come, especially on that coefficient as well, Rob, because, yeah, we've got the dotted line at the moment marking out the top 4, which would qualify automatically for the Champions League. But that's looking like it could go to 5 with English teams performing well in Europe at the moment. But, yeah, look how tight it is. So we've got Chelsea in 4th at the moment on 49 points. And just 8 points behind them are Brentford in 11th and Bournemouth in 10th, just 5 points back. So really congested now in that area of the table. I was at Fulham on Sunday to see them beat Tottenham and move within 3 points of Man City. I mean, who thought we'd be saying that at the start of this season? But they'll be looking back. They've drawn at home against the likes of Ipswich and Southampton this season, so they could be even higher. Bournemouth have been brilliant this year, but just 1 point out of their last 4. Suddenly they've just dropped down the standings a little bit. Again, still in touch in terms of points, but Nottingham Forest holding firm. That brilliant win against Man City a couple of weeks ago and then winning against Ipswich at the weekend. They're still holding on to a Champions League spot. So, yeah, while Liverpool might be out of sight in terms of the title race, I think this area of the table is going to be very interesting in the final weeks of the season and pretty hard to call, I think, as well.
OK. Lots of talk about the Premier League clubs getting that 5th spot in next season's Champions League. But could there be more?
There could be. It's a little bit unlikely, but there absolutely could be. So at the moment, yes, based on the coefficient, the Premier League and La Liga look like they're getting that extra 5th spot. But if Aston Villa, who are currently 9th, stay out of that top 5 and win the Champions League, and remember they're on the same side of the draw as PSG, who they're playing next, Real Madrid, Arsenal, etc. Before we even talk about Barcelona, Inter Milan, Bayern Munich, then they'd be in the Champions League as well. If Man United and Spurs, who are having such poor seasons, they're not even on this graphic, somehow win the Europa League, and I say somehow, it's more likely than Villa winning the Champions League, I would have thought, but Spurs are on the same side of the draw as Eintracht Frankfurt and Lazio. Man United would have to get past Lyon and then potentially Athletic Club or Rangers to make the final. It's a really difficult task, but if they won it as well, that'd be a 7th spot in the Champions League as well, which would then have ramifications for who ended up in Europe in terms of the Conference League and Europa League as well. So it's one to keep an eye on, but I would say it's fairly unlikely, particularly, I'm afraid, Aston Villa fans, the chances of them winning the Champions League.
Okay, that's Birmingham on the holiday list. Right, you two, are you ready? Is it safe to say we assume that Liverpool certainly, but Arsenal have all but secured their top 4 place here? Which clubs have the best remaining fixtures? And should we start with Nottingham Forest? Should we do that?
Yes, do that. Yeah, I think that win for Arsenal over Chelsea really put them in a great position for that Champions League qualification. But Forest, if you looked at these teams and who they've got left to play and worked out their average positions, Forest have got the second best run in out of these sides. They've got Man United at home now, which sort of mixes up that stat a little bit, and Tottenham do as well, because these teams are the big underperforming teams in the Premier League so far this season, and probably carry more threat than their league positions show. But Forest have got to play Villa and they've got to play Chelsea, and that's the only teams they face within that group. So I think a decent chance for them to hold on to that top 5 position.
Chelsea are in there, but what's fascinating is that game against Forest, final day, and they could have the Conference League final a few days later on the Wednesday as well, couldn't they?
Yeah.
So, talk us through Chelsea.
Since mid-December, Chelsea are
talk us through Chelsea.
Actually 13th for points won, so it has been a dramatic drop-off. They were in touching distance of Liverpool in mid-disaster in terms of recent form. Palmer's had injury issues, Nicholas Jackson's had injury issues, a lot of players seem out of form as well. So this looks all quite daunting from a Chelsea perspective right now, and I really don't like the look of that May from their perspective. Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United and Forest, that's a really challenging one.
Yep. So Man City have the easiest run in on paper, but they got Man United or Manchester derby away from home to come, and Aston Villa at home will be a test for them. And Man City, I mean, what do we read into them? How are they going to perform in this run? And we saw against Brighton, so open at the weekend. It could have gone either way, that match. If teams take it to Man City, uncertain which sort of Man City are going to show up, but they're in a good position, I think, when you look at their remaining fixtures.
Yeah. Still have to deal with the FA Cup as well, which is another factor to think about. Newcastle obviously on a massive high after that Carabao Cup win. There are some testing fixtures in here as well, but how does that Carabao Cup win carry momentum to the Premier League? That's a question we need to ask as well. Palace only lost 3 of their last 17 games. They've got Aston Villa away, Villa Park. We've seen what a fortress that's been as well. So Newcastle, you can make a case for any fixture really at this time of the year being difficult or easy, with the exception of the newly promoted sides. But Newcastle, some tough fixtures in there as well.
And now we're going on to Brighton. Now, I think Brighton, you look at the last couple of games, Liverpool, Tottenham, I don't think they'll be wanting to leave it that late. They'll want to be in a good position by then, and that means that these games against Aston Villa and Crystal Palace and their next 2 fixtures, obviously Palace a massive game for Brighton, wherever it comes in the season, could be important. But the way they've reacted to that 7-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest is incredible, really. Got them back on track. And they play Forest in the FA Cup as well. So they're one of those teams juggling other commitments in this run-in as well. But I've been very impressed with Brighton in the last few weeks since that Forest defeat.
Okay, we've gone through the visitors, Fulham, we didn't have time to get to, and Fulham fans, apologies. But who will fancy their chances as it stands right now?
We didn't mention Fulham, but they have that toughest run-in of all the teams remaining, and Villa as well. I mentioned that it looks difficult, I think, for them to compete on 3 fronts. Obviously, they've got that Champions League bid, they've got Preston away in the FA Cup as well, so the opportunity to get to the last 4 of the FA Cup is there for them. So, difficult for these teams in the final weeks of the season, but this is where you've got to go and deliver, isn't it, Rob?